I'm very flexible.
You're very flexible.
Whatever you want me to do, pliable.
Yeah, it's this conversation, get to know you, and I start from the beginning and say what you want to say and, leave out what you don't want to leave out. But Mike, where were you born and raised?
I was born in Hamilton, Ohio. I lived there till I was 3, and I've been here in Seattle ever since. My mother and father split up when I was 3. Irreconcilable differences. He just got back from Korean War, and he was all fucking crazy. And she had already had 5 kids with him, and was giving her 6th kid. And he thought it was a black baby because the cord was wrapped around the neck, and so her head was purple, and so he thought that was a black baby. So he went to get the gun and shoot everybody, and so we ran for our lives.
That was your dad.
That was my dad, yeah.
And that's what you remember about your dad.
Yeah, I remember about my dad. I remember him being really tall and thin at the time, and he's always drunk. I know that. We had several mishaps because of his drinking, but yeah, nothing I could do about it. 3 years old.
Tell me more about your childhood with your siblings. How did you guys function as a family?
We did what our parents told us to do because they were older than I. And we were never allowed to have a childhood. We were always in the middle of the party or in the middle of some kind of dramatic going on. My mom ran after hours and yet. For Fort Lewis soldiers, and she was a bartender, and so it was chaos all the time, chaos and insanity and bad situations. I was raised in Seattle. We moved around a lot. The '60s was my mom married a black man, and he was part of the Black Panther movement, and they started to march at our house on 23rd and Republican and marched down to Garfield and then downtown from there. That stayed connected till into the 80s, before it finally petered out or we let go of it. I was the middle kid. I was the middle kid, the oldest boy and the middle kid. I have 5 older sisters, and I wore hand-me-downs till I started school. At preschool, I was wearing dresses up till then, and it felt pretty normal. So,
What were your teenage years like?
My teenage years were, I was very criminal-minded. I was a young. I like to play a lot of games. I like to sneak around people's property and see how I used to climb stuff. I used to climb all structures. I was a daredevil and stuff. So I go 5-6 stories up on the outside of the building, no problem.
Just for fun or why?
For fun. For shock value.
Yeah,
shock value.
That rush.
And I get the adrenaline rush, and just knowing for a fact that I was going to run into nobody else out there, doing that at that point in time. I was into drugs and alcohol a lot when I was a kid, and it ended up going to adult institutions young. I was declined on when I was 15, and they were going to stick me in one of these juvenile facilities, and I told them I was having trouble with alcohol, so they put me in a program with a lady that took a liking to me. She was a guard at the police station. She was a guard there. I could stay there a month, and she helped me get clean, and she did, and she became my foster mother, and I stayed sober till I started at 15, and I stayed sober till almost 40, and then I had a couple of small fall-offs. I really couldn't handle people dying in my family, and it happened quite often. So I would go on a 1 day or a couple hour relapse, and then I'd get scared straight and go back to AA. But I've got nobody left in my family. They all died. 7 brothers and sisters. They've all passed away already. Some started at my youngest sister died at 21, and my oldest sister died at 25, but in the same era or whatever, like not even miles apart or anything like that, or years apart or something. Anyway, they all passed away from like my little sister got stabbed to death in the doorway of the Lusty Lady downtown, fighting off 4 illegal Guatemalans, try to rape her girlfriend, and she got stabbed in the heart for her trouble.
Sorry.
Yeah. I've lost everybody. Right now, I don't want to dwell on that to show, have me crying in a heartbeat, But I've been living on the streets for a decade or so, and the programs people from Reach or somebody came to me in the park after being out there for 7 years at the park out in Lake City. They said, hey, we can put you in an apartment if you want, and it's got rules and stuff, but I was ready to get off the street. So I'm 62 years old, and the streets aren't good to old people. People don't respect people of age. It isn't, congratulations, you've made it this far. You better watch your step. Because anyone at any time could be a bad guy. I found that out lots.
Tell me about that transition of, the transition of being housed and then going into the street. How did that happen?
Yeah, I was sober for a long time, and I was married to a nice woman, and we had just bought a new house out in Shoreline, and I was working union labor, demolition, and things were going smoothly, but I got injured on the job, and so I started collecting L&I, Leader in Industries, and everything was fine until they said that I don't know, what did they say? My wife said that I had been beaten on her. It's so bad for me to even say this. I never touched her. I never put my hands on her. I worshipped her, and she made up a lie about me hitting her. Her and her sister both did, because she'd started having an affair on me, and she was afraid of what I might do. So she figured it was easier to put me in jail than it was to deal with me. And so she took me to trial, and she recanted the whole thing at the court, to the courts, and the court said that the judge out there, Judge Clark, I think his name was, he said, well, something had to have happened, so I'm going to charge you with 4th-degree domestic violence assault. And that just threw me into a depression. I worked so hard to keep my nose clean from when I stopped drinking at 14, 15, till up into my 30s, and I just couldn't believe it. So
well, yeah, I mean, that's how you sound like you started coping with all that.
Yeah.
Trying to.
I had an injury, a career-ending injury, and I didn't know that at the time. But I had a career-ending injury. I got to stand up; my back hurts sometimes. But I had a career-ending injury, and she was divorced. She was breaking up with me, divorcing me, having an affair. I didn't know about the affair at this point. I found out about the affair because my son come into the coffee house. I was sitting with a friend. The friend that I had asked a friend of mine to help tutor her in math at the University of Washington, and so he was helping her with math. It turns out that he was helping her with a lot more than math. My son came into the coffee house and said, "Dad, that's the guy from Kissing Mom." And there was a guy I'm sitting there talking to, trying to get some help from him to save my marriage. And so after a year of her, sucking me dry for everything she'd get out of me, I gave up on her ever, coming back or us getting back together. And I just let her go her way and I went mine, or they went their way. They moved down to Portland and I went about my business, and it wasn't a good thing because I hadn't been drinking and drugging this whole time, and so I ended up going overboard in a lot of ways, and it wasn't good. I was suicidal, I think. I had a rampage going inside of me, and I didn't know what to do with it. I quit doing certain things, like we're getting ready to jump on a plane, I think, or some shit like that coming up. Lots of stuff like that, but I became so depressed and morbidly depressed that they put me on Social Security. They said that's it, and so here I am. I'm living in Ballard, and I'm finding something every day to feel good about. So I just life's not great. Life is good enough to live, good enough to want to live. It's hard to believe that I'm saying that, but it is. There's something good in my life every day today. I just have to quit focusing on the anger and the fucking resentments and the love loss and all. I mean, I just have so much of that shit that you could drown in it, and so I'm just not trying to do that. I'm working real hard. I got a psychologist around the corner here that I've been working with for 4 years, and we're making good steps in the right direction.
Mike, is there anything that you want the people of Seattle to know?
About me? No, about Seattle, about the homelessness situation, sure. About the shit that's going on out here. It doesn't cost anything to just be a little nicer to people. If we all just treat each other better, and you'd find that you're living in a real utopia if you just reach out and help people and don't charge them for it, and just try to spread a little joy around. Things could be a lot better out here. I'm not harping on myself, but I spend a lot of time anonymously trying to help people, and I got this apartment around the corner here, and I'm always in trouble for having too many guests over, because I'll bring anybody that needs help home, clean them up, feed them, do all that stuff with them, and I get robbed, I get burnt all the time, but I've learned to live with it, because some people are sicker than others, and they need extra measures to get the help they need. I don't burn bridges. If somebody does me wrong, I turn the other cheek, and I don't ever give up on anybody. I turn the other cheek as many times as they need, as long as I can see progress in them. If I know that they feel bad for what they did, or if they're changing, even if they're just mouthing that they're going to change, it's the beginning of changing. That's what Homer Simpson said. Pretending to care is the beginning of caring. It's true. It really is. And I'm not really a real religious guy, but I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. I believe in a lot of different deities or entities that are called God. I believe that we need a lot more of that kind of positive stuff instead of all this negative stuff you see on television anymore. And then you can never see any fluff or happy stories anymore. Used to watch those every weekend, and on Friday nights there'd be this or that going on, and they wanted to share with you. I'd love to see more of the balloons and rainbows and butterflies and shit. I think there's just way too much of this corny ass hardcore stuff going on. Nobody needs to be that tough or that feared. I really don't get it why people running around throwing all that ugly game in the mix. Life is what you make of it, and I don't think anybody wants to wear a barbed wire choker around their neck all the time to prove how tough they are. I did the tough guy suffer, and I suffered for it. I held all my feelings in. I didn't pursue people that could help me, and I paid the price for it. I wasn't very good. I didn't go to school. I went to school till I went to the 8th grade, and I got a GED, and I really was insecure about my schooling and stuff like that. And I went to college, and I got a few credits, did a few quarters up at Shoreline, and I was working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week at the time, so it really didn't work out the school thing. I'd like to try it again someday later, in life. But for now, I think I could probably put another 20 years on my body if I got over a little more of the depression and got something positive going in my life. I'd like to get a little part-time job or something under the table and just make a difference. I'd like to get involved in the community. I need a little bit more money to live off of, because I run out of money after the first week every month on Social Security. But I'd like to have a little bit more spend, and I'd like to be able to work with the community. I'll volunteer. I volunteer every day. I do stuff around the neighborhood just because I want to help. I want the neighborhood I live in to be nicer. So I'll pick the trash up. I'll go out there and clean up all the dog shit along the parkways and stuff like that, because you don't need to be doing it as its own reward. It makes my life better. It makes the people around me, their life better, and it lightens the whole scene up to have somebody just volunteer to do stuff. And so
it doesn't seem that hard.
I'm reaching out, and I've got some real hardcore guys that never lifted a finger to help anybody, and now suddenly they're turning around and they're seeing the error of their ways, and that they could just have their life would be so much easier and so much nicer if they were nice to other people. The whole atmosphere around them would change. And you start rubbing up against nice, and you're gonna get nice. And so that's what I'm all about. I stress out a lot about my health. I'm having some issues with circulation and stuff right now, and I've never had a single problem with my health. And I move into this place over here, and I watched 60 people go out of their feet first, in 5 years. And I'm one of the older people there, 62. I'm one of the older people there. I'm not trying to do that shit for very long. I want to get into a building that's not so full of, I don't know, there's just a lot of problems there. The Ernest Nyer building, you know about that place? Okay, it's right around the corner from the library here. You go to the next block down and over to 20th, and it's this second building in. It's got balconies on the side of the building, and it's right next to the FedEx parking lot there. Right. But it's a programs building, and you gotta have something on your plate that you're heading in the direction of. If you don't have any money, they don't charge you rent. If you're on Social Security, they charge you a third, and you gotta just keep an eye on everything you got all the time. I've lost 20 bikes, 40 phones, you name it, since I've gotten there. And because I have not lost my temper with one person since I've been here in 5 years. I haven't lifted my hand out of anger to anybody. And when I was living in the streets out there in Lake City, I was fighting kids half my age. I was fighting multiple people. I was fighting with weapons. I'm in my 60s. There's no freaking reason for a guy like me to be out there doing that shit. I was beat almost to death with brass knuckles by 4 different guys who were trying the brass knuckles on and handing them off to each other as they punched me all over the park and stuff like that. But I fucking lived through it.
Right, you're still here talking to me. Thank you.
Right.
Hey, Mike, I appreciate your time. Thanks for sharing some of your story, and I wish you all the best.
Yeah, it's really nice meeting you. It's nice to meet somebody who's interested in helping people just having a forum like this where they can let somebody know a little bit about themselves, get some of that tension off of them, relax a little bit. I feel a lot better having talked to you. So,
I don't know, man. Hope it helps.
Thanks, yeah. Yep.
I'm gonna get that mic off you and.
All right.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah,
that was cool.
Yeah. I'm gonna get a photo of you.
Okay.
Don't go too far.
Okay.
Stretch out that back.